The Solapur district of Maharashtra had a festering problem, that of spurious liquor. Every now and then, deaths due to huge tragedies were reported. Actions were taken, cases were filed, but often it was always back to square one, until a sensitive IPS officer was posted over there. This officer realized that until and unless the problems of those involved in this illegal activity are dealt with humanely, this is going to continue. She worked on upskilling those people who are involved in this business to give them an employment of dignity. Operation Parivartan by Solapur Rural Police was a massive success. It has now become a global case study. I'm consciously sharing this case study with all of you, dear students, so that if you feel that you want to have a career of this sort, then civil services is the option for you. Good morning, dear students. My name is Jawad Qazi, and I'm a senior faculty with the Unique Academy. And in today's webinar, I will be sharing with you how you could plan to become a civil servant yourself. But before I do that, let me briefly tell you about us, that is Unique Academy, and what we basically do. Guys, the Unique Academy is a leading institution for training for civil services examination in Maharashtra. Spread across several cities, over the last more than a decade and a half, we have produced a consistent track record of successful students. Ansar Sheikh, Snehal Dhaigude, Akshay Wakhre. There's a long list of students from the Academy who have made it to the holy PDF of the civil services examination, that is the final result list. Our core competence is in training aspirants for UPSC's civil services examination, MPSC's state services examination, and many other government competitive examinations lower than that. Guys, we are shortly going to launch our new batches starting from 8th of May 2023 in the English medium for civil services preparation, as well in Marathi medium from the same date, that is 8th May 2023. If you are interested for joining these batches, then you can contact the Unique Academy on the number given on the screen and register for demo lectures for these upcoming batches. Well, with that out of the way, let me now start my talk regarding preparation for this particular examination. First and foremost, guys, we need to understand what exactly is civil services and what is its role in our polity. To make you understand, just have a look at this tree diagram over here. The Indian polity basically stands on three pillars. First is the executive, second is the legislature, and third obviously is the judiciary. The executive, that is the government of the day, is actually further made up of two wings. First is the political executive. So this is basically the elected government of the day, which is elected every 5 years through general elections. At the central level, you have the central government, and similarly at state levels, you have state governments. These governments come and go for a particular period, that is 5 years. Politicians who are elected as ministers, they need not have the complete technical administrative acumen to run the system. And therefore, to support these ministers, we have what is called as the permanent executive. This permanent executive, guys, basically is the civil services. The role of the civil services is to provide stability to India's administration. They are the ones who actually implement the policies and laws of Government of India. They provide inputs to the government regarding shaping of these policies and laws. Naturally, dear students, you would understand that they have a very, very crucial role to play in the governance system of our country. And therefore, this is called as the steel frame of India. Every year, through annual competitive examinations, the civil services are recruited for by a constitutional body called as UPSC, or Union Public Service Commission. Now, it is very well understood that the best minds of the country must be given these very nodal or crucial posts. And for that purpose, a special body has been created called as UPSC. Let us now briefly understand about what is the role of this body, that is Union Public Service Commission. UPSC, as I just mentioned, guys, is a constitutional body of India. The founding fathers of our country have made specific provisions for this body in the constitution itself. Their aim was very clear. The role of civil servants is very, very crucial for the country. And therefore, their recruitment has to happen in the most fair and transparent manner possible. And hence, to provide it with necessary independence, Union Public Service Commission has been created as a constitutional body itself. It is given the task of recruiting gazetted Group A and B officers for the Government of India. So the government services are classified into groups A, B, C, D, going downwards in the hierarchy. The A and B obviously are the topmost posts, and for that purpose, UPSC carries out different recruitment drives. It conducts myriad types of examinations for this purpose. For example, civil services, about which we will be talking at length, but there are many other exams also, like CDS, NDA, Indian Geological Services, Economic Services, so on and so forth. UPSC has been called as the watchdog of merit in India. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, in a speech during the Constituent Assembly days, while debating about this body, had referred to it as the watchdog of merit of India. Basically, what it means is that it is the role of this body to ensure that officers are recruited based only and only on their merit. No forms of discrimination, corruption, nepotism should come in the way of a competent young boy or girl while he strives to become an officer for the Government of India. And this is the reason why every year, when the result of UPSC is released, we see sons and daughters of farmers, auto rickshaw drivers, and people from the most modest backgrounds topping in this exam. Guys, now let us try to understand a little more in detail about the process of this exam. Let us first see what is the civil services examination as such. Without a shade of doubt, I would say that this is the most prestigious examination in the country. And why do I say so? Civil services examination carries out recruitment for not 1, 2, 3, but as many as 23 premier services for the Government of India. So in other words, you clear one examination and there are 23 career paths open before you for you to choose. Indian Administrative Services, Indian Police Services, Indian Revenue Services, Indian Foreign Services, these are the premier services that you might have heard of. But then it is not limited only to these. There are many more services which are part of this particular examination that perhaps you may not have heard of as of now. So clear one examination and you have 23 career paths before you. Any graduate from any discipline from a recognized University of India is eligible to appear for this annual competitive examination. So this exam does not have any stringent academic performance as a criteria. All that you have to have achieved is being a graduate from a recognized university in India, and you are good to appear for the civil services examination. This, guys, clearly shows that UPSC does not consider your past academic performance as a benchmark to assess how good or a competent officer you could be. You may not have been a topper all throughout your school days, but you may very well be a good civil servant if you crack this examination. Now let us see a few technical pointers regarding this exam. We'll get this quickly out of the way. Obviously, one has to be an Indian national and graduate for appearing in this exam. Open category candidates can take this exam up to the age of 32, and there are age relaxations as per law for the reserved category candidates. OBC get 3 years relaxation, SC/ST get 5 years relaxation, and there is also a limit on the number of attempts that you can take in the exam. Open category candidates can take 6 attempts, OBC can take 9, and SC/ST can take as long as their age is not barring them from appearing. So with these few technicalities out of the way, let us now get into why you must seriously pursue a career in the civil services. What are really the compelling factors that must make you aspire to be a civil servant for the country? First and foremost over here, civil services is a career and not just a job. Well guys, for an overwhelming majority of people in our country, we all have to work to earn our living. A job is something that compensates you for the time and effort that you put in during the course of a month. It gives you a salary at the end of it. A career is a much wider concept. Job is like a subset and career is like a superset that engulfs that subset. Career includes many other things apart from just compensation, apart from just salary. A career includes, for example, the kind of social respect that you get. A civil servant enjoys or commands a lot of respect in the society for the role that he is playing for the nation. It includes the kind of different job profiles that you are called to handle. An IAS officer would be serving as collector one day, then transferred as director in some public sector enterprise. He may be sent on deputation to an international institution, or he will become a secretary in some other department of the government. Across a span of 33 years or 35 years of service, a civil servant is going to get a very broad cross-section of exposure in his career. This no other job, in my view, can offer in our country. And that is reason number one why you should think for civil services. Second is the kind of exposure that one gets while serving in the service. The myriad different types of challenges that you face every day, that you deal every day, help you to enrich your personality. The challenges that you face, the problems that you overcome, the kind of powers that you are given, all of this ensures that you grow from within. You are a much better person than you were in the preceding years. That is very unique about civil services, the exposure that it provides. The third reason is self-actualization. This is a concept given by a thinker in psychology by the name Maslow. Self-actualization, to summarize it pithily, means developing the innate talent and potentials within you to the fullest possible extent. Civil services, through the challenges and opportunities that it provides you, gives you an opportunity for self-actualization, for developing yourself to the fullest. And this, perhaps no other career can offer you like civil services does in India. Lastly, and most significantly, is public interface. By public interface, I mean the direct interaction that civil servants have with the common people at large. During the COVID times, guys, you must have seen how the civil servants were working day in and day out to ensure that lives of common people were comfortable. The decisions that a civil servant takes has a very huge impact on the lives of common people. A signature by a collector is going to definitely impact lives of lakhs and maybe millions of people. That is the kind of exposure or public interface that civil services provides you. The satisfaction of having done something good for the common people, for the masses, for your fellow citizens is something that can never be measured in terms of monetary value. Well, these are the few reasons why you must certainly think about civil services as a career for yourself. Now guys, let us get into the preparation aspect of this exam. This exam is carried out in 3 stages. The first is the preliminary examination, which is basically a process of screening or shortlisting the sincere aspirants from the applicants. We'll get into the details as we go along. The second stage is the main examination, which, as the name suggests, and you might have understood, is really the core or the fulcrum of this exam. This is where you really sweat it out to ensure that you score better than your competitors in the examination. This is the main stage. And then comes what we popularly refer to as interview, and UPSC calls it as the personality test. Based on your score in main examination and the personality test, a candidate is shortlisted for the final selection. Let us now go into each one of these stages and their preparation in a step-by-step manner. Let us take the case of the prelims examination first. The preliminary examination is an objective examination with 2 papers. General Studies Paper 1, GS as it is popularly called, and second one is also called as GS Paper 2, but popularly again this is referred to as CSAT or Civil Services Aptitude Test. General Studies Paper 1 is objective in nature, that is, you will have 1 question and 4 alternatives to choose from. For 1 right question, you get 2 marks, and 1/3 negative marks are deducted for every wrong answer. That is, negative marking is attached to it. The second paper is also similar in nature, the only difference being that this is qualifying. As in, you just have to clear a threshold of marks, that is 1/3 out of the total, to have passed this paper, and you are good to go. That is the only criteria that you need to scale. These 2 papers include, GS Paper 1 includes history, geography of India and world, Indian polity, economy, social issues, science and technology, and current affairs. So broadly speaking, these are the 7 core components of GS Paper 1 in preliminary examination. The second paper, that is CSAT, is designed more on the lines of your aptitude tests or scholarship exams. Broadly speaking, it includes your language competence, reading comprehension, mathematical abilities, ability to think logically, so on and so forth. Very similar to the scholarship exams or various aptitude entrance exams that you might have perhaps already taken. It is a relatively easy paper provided your basics are clear. Even if they are not, don't worry, we at the Unique Academy will ensure that you scale through this stage in a very easy manner. So this is about the technicality of the first stage of this exam, that is the preliminary examination. Once you clear the preliminary examination, then you are called or shortlisted for the subsequent stage of the examination, which is called as the main examination. Now guys, let us try to understand what all this stage, that is the main examination, entails. The main examination, unlike the prelims, is descriptive in nature. So here you don't have MCQ type questions. Instead, like your college or university exams, you will be writing essay type answers. Okay? This stage has not 1 but 4 different papers of general studies. GS Paper 1, 2, 3 and 4, each for 250 marks. GS Paper 1 includes the core subjects of history, geography and Indian society. A civil servant must understand the background history of India and the world to be able to relate the problems and challenges of today. He must also have an understanding of the geographical context of our country and the world to be able to respond to the contemporary challenges of environment and other issues that come about. Indian society is, needless to say, understanding the social issues of India, its problems, is a sine qua non for a good civil servant. After GS paper 1, the second paper is General Studies paper 2, which includes Indian polity, developmental issues, and international relations. When you are working for, the government, when you're working in the governance system, it is imperative that one has clear understanding about how the polity or governance system of our country works. And therefore, this paper has disproportionate emphasis on Indian polity. But apart from that, it also tests you on your understanding of India's relations with the world. So IR, or international relations, is there in General Studies paper 2 to test you on this aspect. Then comes General Studies paper 3. General Studies paper 3 broadly includes agriculture economy, India's economic development, science and technology, security related issues, and some other smaller topics. This is a dynamic paper in the scheme of examination, and the questions very often over here are of current nature. More on that when we go ahead in this talk. The last GS paper is an interesting innovation brought about by UPSC. This paper is called as GS paper 4, or Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude. GS paper 4 basically aims to check the kind of values, morals, ethics, attitudes a candidate has. When you will be recruited as a civil servant, you will be discharging very crucial roles for the government. You will be having tremendous power at your disposal. And naturally, it is imperative to check whether you have the right sort of attitude, values, ethics, etc. to be given such important responsibilities. And therefore, UPSC has devised this innovation to check or understand or decipher whether a candidate is fit to be having these kind of powers. That is General Studies paper 4. Very interestingly, the theory part of this paper is relatively less. The emphasis of the paper is more on application through case studies. Case studies give you real life-like situations and make you assess that situation and come out with steps and measures for the same. This is a unique thing that UPSC has introduced. Apart from these 4 papers of general studies, a UPSC aspirant also has to appear for a paper of essay. All of these papers are for 250 marks each. In essay, a candidate is expected to write not 1 but 2 essays. An open-ended philosophical topic is given to the candidates on which the candidate is expected to express his thoughts, views, and argue around his stance. Essay over the recent years has become a decisive paper in the civil services examination. A candidate who scores very well in essay is most likely going to get a service of his choice. A couple of years ago, Nitisha Jagtap, a student of the Unique Academy, scored 143 marks in this paper. Her score was more than all India rank 1 candidate of that year, and therefore in her very first attempt, she was able to not only clear the exam, but also get Indian Police Service. She became an IPS officer at the age of 22. You could also be one amongst such successful candidates, and we at the Unique Academy will take due care that you prepare thoroughly for all of these papers. Now, apart from GS and essay, a candidate also has to select one particular subject as his or her optional subject. What are the different alternatives about optional subject and how you could go about the selection? We will discuss in due course of time. So this is the scheme for the main examination. 250 marks each for GS, 250 marks for essay, and 500 marks for optional subject. The total adds up to 1750 marks. Based on your performance in mains, then the candidate is called for the last stage of the examination, which is the personality test or interview. In the personality test, a candidate's personality is judged by a panel of senior public servants who have served in different areas through a one-on-one interaction. Based on your performance in that interview, out of 275 marks, you are given a score, and that score is added to your score of main examination, and based on that, a final merit list is produced. This is how, guys, the scheme of the examination works. Now let me give you a bird's eye view regarding what are the different subjects that you would be preparing for the civil services examination. A civil services aspirant prepares multiple subjects at sufficient depth. He studies history of India and the world, geography of India and the world, Indian polity, economy of India, science and technology, international relations, social issues of India, environment and climate change related problems, ethics, integrity and aptitude, internal security, and very significantly, current affairs also. So this in a way is the broad canvas that a civil services aspirant is going to deal with during the course of his preparation. How to go about doing that is what we are now going to talk about. Okay. Let me tell you first how the civil services examination is different from other examinations that you might have taken to the state. What is the nature of this examination? First things first, this is a competitive examination, which means here your performance by yourself is not what is relevant alone. Your performance is judged in comparison to others. It's a competitive exam. And therefore, you have to not only do well according to your own standards, but you also have to do well or better than others. It is only then that you will be able to make it to the final merit list into the magical number. If say for this year the posts are 1000 and your rank is 1001, you are not going to get anything for that performance because you are not there in that magical figure. This is what you have to understand first. It's a competitive examination where a relative performance is what matters. Second aspect of this examination is its dynamic nature. Now, what do I mean by dynamism in civil services? UPSC consciously tries to ensure that there is no set pattern on which the exam is conducted. Yes, we have a syllabus and structure of the examination, but the type of questions that are asked do not allow you to become complacent. The questions will be framed in such a manner that you will always be kept on your toes. Mere rote learning or cramming up of facts is not going to help you to crack this examination. You really have to understand the pith and nerve of what you are studying in the syllabus and current affairs. The questions specifically are designed in this manner. To give you a quick example, in 2018, UPSC had asked a question in prelims. And the question was, which of the following best explains the concept of liberty? This was the question. It's a prelims question, so there were 4 alternatives. And each of the 4 options were actually correct. A candidate had to choose that particular option which was the most appropriate of the 4. Now, a candidate who has just crammed up the facts will not be able to understand or discern which one of the alternative will be the most appropriate one. This is what I mean by the dynamic nature of the examination. This is the first aspect. Next, multiple subjects and broad syllabus of the exam. As we saw on the previous screen, a civil services aspirant studies not 1, 2 or 3 but multiple subjects and at sufficient depth. This broad syllabus makes it a challenge as compared to any other examination. you are exposed to myriad different types of subjects in which you have to have sufficient depth. There is nothing that a common graduate cannot understand as such in the exam, but the scale of it is what is the challenge. The vastness is what is the challenge. Next aspect of this exam is conceptual clarity. Understanding concepts clearly and thoroughly. This exam, guys, has a premium on conceptual clarity. If your basic concepts are clear, only then can you expect to scale this exam successfully. If your basics are not clear, then you will be weeded out at the earlier stages itself. And therefore, students are advised to revise the NCERT textbooks so that their basics could be built up strongly. Conceptual clarity, let me repeat, is at a premium in this civil services examination. This is the fourth aspect regarding the nature of the exam. Lastly, precision and speed. Precision and speed. This being a competitive exam, there is a race against time. When you are writing prelims paper, you are supposed to solve 100 questions of general studies in a span of 2 hours. The questions are long, they are thought-provoking, and you really need to be precise in your understanding to be able to reach the answer in that given time. Same is the case with mains. In GS 1, 2, 3, you will be writing an answer in less than 7 minutes. An answer of 150 words. The question has to be understood, the thoughts have to be organized, and then put on paper in less than 7 minutes. So precision and speed are the next important aspects regarding the nature of the examination. Now guys, let us come to the actual way or steps in which you must go about preparing for the exam. Stepwise guideline. What I am giving you on the screen here is the critical path method, as it is called, CPM, regarding preparation for this exam. The first step regarding preparing for the examination is thoroughly studying the syllabus of the examination. UPSC has given a clearly defined syllabus for the examination. If you are serious about your preparation, then the first and immediate step that you must take is download the syllabus of the examination and read it thoroughly. The syllabus is something that must accompany you throughout your preparation for this examination. The second stage is question paper analysis. The second resource which UPSC has given for you is previous year's questions. Previous year's questions will tell you how UPSC will ask the questions. While the syllabus gives you what can be asked, how it can be asked is what the previous year's questions tell us. Based on a thorough understanding of these two aspects, that is syllabus and PYQs, then you can start your actual course of preparation. So these two have to be your fundamental steps when you decide to prepare for civil services exam. This has to be followed by the next step, that is basic reading of NCERT textbooks and some standard reference textbooks. NCERT textbooks from class 6 to class 12 are a great resource for building up of your basic concepts. NCERTs explain key ideas and concepts in a simple manner like no other resource. And UPSC is known to ask direct questions based on NCERTs. And therefore, it is very crucial that you start your preparation with NCERT textbooks. Which ones to study, I'll tell you in due course. After you have read the basic NCERT textbooks, then comes the next stage, that is reading basic reference material for that particular subject. For example, if you're studying Indian polity, then you might have heard of the textbook called as M. Lakshmikant's Indian Polity. It's a standard textbook for polity subject. If you're studying modern India, then Spectrum's material or textbook is considered as a fairly standard one. And in similar manner, all the subjects have their own standard textbooks that you need to refer to. So this is the third step in due course of your preparation. After having done the basic reading, let me explain you what I call as the Burger model. This is a 3-step process whenever you prepare a topic. Say for example, you are studying history, and in history you are studying the topic of Revolt of 1857. First and foremost, start with basic conceptual understanding of that topic. Concepts at the base, whether it is history, it is polity, economy, society, any subject for that matter, the base always has to be the core concepts. Once you have understood the core concepts, then and only then go to the next stage and try to build up the technical information base for that particular topic. Say for example, you are studying the topic of governor in Indian polity. You've understood who is the governor and what is his role in our polity. Then next comes the technical information. Refer to the articles for appointment of governor, his removal, his powers, his discretion, all the practices that are associated with it, so on and so forth. That is the next stage, which we call as technical information base. So first the concepts, that is the base of the burger. Then comes technical information base, that is the intermediate layer. And then in the end comes the current dimension. That is the last step of the topic. You have to continuously be on the lookout for any current issue that is right now in the news regarding that particular topic. The role of governor, for example, every now and then comes in news because of certain steps or measures that are taken by the incumbent. So we have to understand it from current perspective also. To give you another quick example, say you are studying the topic of cyclone. Say you are studying the topic of cyclone in geography. First, understand the basic concept of how a cyclone is created. Then understand the technical information regarding what leads to a cyclone, what are the different classifications, which regions see cyclones in different parts of the year, so on and so forth. And then third comes the current dimension. Refer to the recent cyclones that have taken place. Prepare what happened in that cyclone, what was the destruction, what are the steps taken by the government to rehabilitate, so on and so forth. This is the 3-step burger model for preparation. After this, once you have prepared a topic comprehensively in this manner, then the next stage is writing answers or solving MCQs for that particular topic. Ultimately, you are expected to be exam ready. And for being exam ready, you must simulate the exam environment and solve questions. It is only when you take that effort of solving questions over and over again that your success can be ensured. So, answer writing is a very crucial step in this process. Once you have written answers for a particular topic, then comes the next stage, that is simulated exam practice. If you've written answers for every topic, then towards the end, you can write simulated exams. What is meant by simulation? Simulation means just like UPSC is going to ask questions in the actual exam, say 250 marks का एक पूरा paper आप लिख रहे हैं geography का. Similarly, you have to write a full paper of a particular subject. That is simulated exam practice. So I hope guys you got the critical path method regarding preparing for the civil services examination. Let's go to the next slide now. Guys, here in this slide, I am going to explain you what I refer to as the 7-step study technique for preparing for this examination. Now, I know during your college days, you may not have referred to very thick tomes or textbooks of great depth. That is perfectly understandable. But when you enter civil services preparation, you will have to deal with multiple textbooks of great academic depth and quality. How do you go about preparing these textbooks? For that, I have given you this 7-step study technique. Let us see what are these 7 steps. First in that is skimming. Whenever you start studying a textbook, first skim through the textbook. Read the index, read the preface given by the author, try to have a bird's eye view of every topic, see the arrangement of ideas, diagrams, flowcharts, etc. given in the topic, and get a complete overview of that textbook. The mistake that we do is, we start reading word by word from the first page without taking a full overview of the textbook. That is a mistake that a lot of candidates make. Let that not be your case. First, skim through the textbook, and this will give you a lot of clarity, confidence, and excitement to read that particular text. This is the first stage. Second stage or second reading actually starts the word by word reading of that textbook. Go through the chapters, read the content, and simultaneously underline and highlight the keywords that are given in that particular topic. Here again, a lot of candidates make the mistake that they underline whole paragraphs, and in the process, they make their revision very difficult. Underlining and highlighting has to be limited only to the keywords of that particular text. Complete reading of that topic in this manner. This is your second step or second reading that you go through this process. So step number 1, skimming. Step number 2 is highlighting or underlining. Then comes step number 3 or third reading, in which we produce side notes or page notes. In the limited space that is given in the margins of the textbook and at the top of the pages, you are expected to summarize the content in crisp manner. That is called as side notes and page notes. Making these side notes and page notes will help you to understand the text much better and also facilitate your subsequent revisions. These are the first 3 steps. First reading, skimming. Second reading is underlining and highlighting. And third reading is making side notes and page notes. Once you have made these side notes and page notes, then after that, prepare mind maps and micro notes for each topic. In a A4 size page, try to summarize all the concepts in a topic through a mind map. Now that you have done the 3 readings and made these notes, it will be easy for you to compress all of that idea into one page in the form of mind maps or micro notes. These will come in very handy when you revise later for the examination. Once your mind maps are done, then comes the next and very crucial stage, which is called as contemplation. Contemplation, or what we refer to in Hindi and Marathi as Manan. Contemplation means, guys, keep away all the text, all the content that you have prepared. Just sit calmly and engage your mind on what you have prepared. Try to recall the content that you have produced in your notes. This will sharpen your memory and also help you to understand the core concepts of the topic much better. A lot of students make this mistake. They neglect this step of contemplation. And because of this, their understanding is not strong enough to write good quality answers. Every day at the end of your daily routine, spare about 30 minutes for this activity of contemplation, and surely it will help you to enhance your preparation manifold. Once that is done, then the next stage is answer writing. After you have contemplated about a particular topic, then you can take a question from the faculties. We at the Unique Academy ensure that you have sufficient answer writing practice in the class. A lot of assignments are given and tests are engaged so that your answer writing practice is ensured. And then last stage is revision. This exam has a very broad syllabus, and howsoever brilliant memory you might be having, it is very difficult to retain all of that information. And for that, an organized method of revision is very, very crucial, guys. So every week you must allocate a certain number of hours for the purpose of revising the content that you have prepared. If you don't spend time on revision, then you will end up forgetting all that you have prepared, and that will be like a double whammy. You spend time on preparation and you lost all of that. And hence, it is crucial that you have revision factored in your preparation. So this is the 7-step study technique that you can use in course of your preparation. Okay. Now, on the screen, guys, I'm sharing with you the list of the most important NCERT textbooks that you must prioritize while preparing for civil services examination. Now, while all the NCERT textbooks are helpful and relevant from 6th to 12th standard, but then there are certain ones which are more important, and therefore here I have given you a prioritized list of NCERTs. Suppose you are still at undergraduate stage, you are just starting out your preparation, then you may prioritize these NCERTs and these textbooks first. I would suggest that you may take a screenshot of this slide, or you can just pause the video and write down these NCERT textbooks so that you could start your preparation with these. Okay? For the sake of saving time, I'm giving you a few seconds over here for the screenshot, and then after that we'll take the next slide. I hope you've done that. Now let's take the next slide. Let's come to the next very crucial aspect regarding your preparation, which is selecting of your optional subject. Guys, optional subject in the scheme of the examination has 500 marks. Without scoring exceptionally well in optional subject, it is almost impossible to get a service of your choice. Out of 500, your target must be to scale more than 270 marks at least if you want to be there in the top 200, 300 candidates. But for that, the first step is to select an optional subject that actually suits you. Preparation for optional subject is almost like at master's level. Say for instance, if you are taking political science as your optional subject, then your level of preparation is going to be as good as a candidate who has done a master's in PSIR. And therefore, it is important that you select the optional subjects very carefully. The first step in this selection is first ensure that the optional that you want to go for, you have deep and genuine interest in that subject. I know this may sound very, common sense based, but a lot of students falter at this very stage. They go on to select optional subject based on its so-called popularity, based on what this year's topper had opted for, based on some other criteria like what their friends are going for. Don't make that mistake. Since you will be preparing that optional for a good year and a half to 2 years at least, it is crucial that you have genuine interest in that subject. So make a list of those subjects in which you are genuinely interested, and then from that zero down to your optional subject. Now, once you have done that, once you have shortlisted your subjects based on interest, then comes the second stage. At this stage, review the syllabus and previous year's questions of that optional subject. Try to take a taste and feel of what the syllabus of that subject entails. Say, for instance, you like history, you have interest in history, but you have a perception of history which might be different from what UPSC is expecting. For you, history might be just about political histories and wars and so on and so forth. But when it comes to UPSC, there's a lot of society, art, culture, economy, etc. that we study in history optional. Is that to your liking? You need to find out. And how you will do that? For that, review the syllabus and the previous year's questions of that particular subject. Then comes the third stage. So you are pruning your list as you are going along. First, you shortlisted the subjects of your interest. Then you saw the PYQs and syllabus. You have shortlisted it further. Then at the third stage, read some basic textbook of that particular subject. A basic textbook. Generally, NCERTs would be available for the more popular subjects like history, political science, sociology, so on and so forth. So read through those textbooks and try to get a taste of that subject. This will give you more confidence and clarity whether you would want to take that subject as your optional subject. And then lastly and very importantly, check for the availability of guidance and study material for that subject. Preparing optional is a slightly tricky business, guys. It is crucial that you have the right guidance for preparing it. Otherwise, precious months and years could go down the drain if you don't have the right guidance for preparing it. And therefore, we at the Unique Academy have ensured that you have the best guidance available with respect to all the popular subjects of optionals. May it be political science and international relations, history, sociology, public administration, anthropology, so on and so forth. All the popular optional subjects are taught at the Unique Academy by very experienced faculties who have themselves scored well in their optional subjects when they were aspirants. So these are the factors through which you can finally zoom down to one particular subject of your choice. Now let me just briefly give you an overview of what are the optional subjects that you can opt for. UPSC has given a long list of 28 optional subjects from which you can choose one. You have humanities-based subjects like history, political science, so on and so forth. You have all the basic sciences like physics, chemistry, etc. You have all the literature-based subjects like Marathi literature, Hindi literature, English literature, all the languages that are there in our constitution. You have basic core engineering subjects like electrical, civil and mechanical, so on and so forth. You can take a screenshot of the slide if you like to zoom down to one particular subject. Now based on this, you are supposed to prepare one particular subject as your optional subject. Now let me come to a very key and crucial aspect for preparing for civil services examination, which is current affairs. I'm sure everybody who has ever given a thought, even a fleeting thought for preparing for civil services examination knows that current affairs is very crucial in this examination. Now, what is meant by current affairs and why is it so important for this exam? Guys, as a civil servant, when you will be implementing government policies, laws, programs, etc., when you will be contributing in making these policies and all of these government measures, you would be doing this in a context of what is happening in the country and the whole world. Without understanding the context of what is happening around us, we cannot frame appropriate policies. And therefore, very rightly, UPSC at the initial stage itself wants to check if you have a habit of preparing current affairs throughout. Whether you are habituated to reading good quality content on current affairs or no. This is what is being ensured at the very initial stage itself. Let us now understand what is meant by current affairs. This is a pithy definition that I have drafted. The day-to-day events and issues. Note the words. The day-to-day events and issues in different sectors within and outside India. Day-to-day events and issues in different sectors within and outside India that have an impact on our collective national life. That is called as current affairs. Means on a daily basis, there are a lot of things that are taking place. Small events which are connected to larger issues. These events and issues across different sectors impact our collective national life. UPSC expects us to be abreast about these events and issues. Let me give you a quick example. Recently, one of the states of India had taken some stringent steps and measures regarding child marriages. Now, it so turned out that the people who were targeted under these measures came from a certain community. This created a big issue around, personal laws, around the practice of child marriage, around what should be the right steps and measures, so on and so forth. So the event was the steps taken by the state, and the larger issue was child marriage. As a civil services aspirant, we are expected to be updated about both these, the event that has taken place and the larger issue that it is connected to. Okay. UPSC in prelims will prioritize the events, but when it comes to mains and interview, the focus is going to be on the larger contemporary issues. So we need to thoroughly prepare for this while you are a civil services aspirant. How do we go about doing that? Let me just briefly share some insights about it. For this, first and foremost, you must have a practice of reading good quality content for current affairs on a daily basis. For this, it is crucial that you read one good newspaper, either the Hindu or Indian Express, on a daily basis. Why the Hindu or Indian Express? The Hindu and Indian Express are daily newspapers which come out with very deep and substantial material for preparing for current affairs. Their editorials and opposite to editorial pages are laced with articles that analyze threadbare the issues that are going on. And therefore, it is advised that one must prepare at least one of these daily newspapers. If you are at an advanced stage of preparation, you may club these two also and prepare both of them. How to do that is a subject of a different video that is already made on the Unique Academy's YouTube channel by me. You may like to have a look at it. But for an initial stage, you can remain limited to one of these two newspapers. Second is government magazines like Yojana and Kurukshetra. Yojana and Kurukshetra, every month government publishes these magazines that deal with different developmental issues. They tell us what are the important government policies and measures in those areas, and therefore they are a very good source for preparing for our current affairs. So this is the second important resource. Third, after that, is the rich study material that is provided by the class that is Unique Academy. Every month, you will be given a comprehensive study material on current affairs by the Unique Academy, which will suffice for your preparation of current affairs. It will cover this particular subject from all perspectives. It will include events as well as issues, which will ensure that you have a one-stop solution for preparing this particular subject. Apart from this, you may also like to refer to some good quality debate shows on different channels like Sansad TV, or for that matter, various other channels also. Debate shows will help you to understand contemporary issues in a much more nuanced manner. You will be able to articulate your opinion with facts, figures, and perspectives. And for this reason, debate shows are a great help. So this is in brief about how you could go about preparing for current affairs. Okay. The next important aspect is regarding your language competence. Now, I presume that since you're watching this video, English will be the medium that you will be opting for civil services examination. Let me make it very clear, guys, at the very outset, that this exam is not a test of your language competence as such. Absolutely not. This exam is a test of your thought process. But having said that, having good competence on language will certainly enable your preparation and enable you to present your thoughts in a better manner. And therefore, some effort on improving your language competence is definitely going to go a long way in your success. How would you go about doing that? Just a few quick suggestions regarding language competence. First aspect regarding language is the basics of grammar. I know a lot of you students have done graduation from professional streams or are still pursuing that, maybe engineers, doctors, so on and so forth. And therefore, you have lost that touch of writing, grammatically coherent sentences and paragraphs. It is very understandable. But here, when you appear for civil services, and especially when you write essays, you will have to write coherent paragraphs, sentences, and long pieces. And here, the grammar aspect becomes crucial. Therefore, it is crucial that you update or revise a little bit about key topics of grammar. There are some topics in which a lot of students are weak. Let me identify a few of them for you. Topic on tenses, topic related to active and passive voice, topics related to punctuations. I see a lot of students make mistakes in these areas. These are just a few topics. Ensure that you revise these topics from basic standard sources. Wren and Martin is a standard source for this purpose. And English is Easy by Chetananand Singh is also a very good book that you may like to refer to. It is written from Indian audience perspective and it will help you ensure a sound foundation of grammar. After this comes the next aspect, that is vocabulary. Vocabulary is like the building block of language. Having good command on vocabulary will help you read a newspaper and standard textbooks in a more confident and effective manner, and also help you to express and articulate your thoughts in a much better way. So along with your preparation, you can also focus a little bit of time on vocabulary development. Let me give you a quick example regarding effectiveness of vocabulary. Now guys, what we call as gussa in Hindi or rag in Marathi, there are so many words in English for that. Miffed, annoyed, angry, furious, livid. Miffed, annoyed, angry, furious, livid. I've given you 5 words which basically mean the same. Gussa or rag, as we call in Hindi and Marathi respectively. But there is a difference. Miffed is at the lowest level of intensity and livid is at the highest level. So there's a rising intensity of anger in these words. Now, if you know the right word for the right situation, that leads to effective expression. What we call in Marathi as abhivyakti, having the right word for the right situation. Developing vocabulary can go a long way in facilitating your preparation for this process. A quick suggestion for this is, there's a very good book, Word Power Made Easy by Norman Lewis. You can refer to that book to improve your vocabulary. The third aspect regarding language is fluency. This is not required at this stage for your preparation. It is only when you go for the interview where you will be conversing in English, that is when you will require a good fluency on the language also. And that is something that can be built up or dealt with later. So having got the language related aspect out of the way, let us take the last slide for our discussion today. And here I want to share with you a very, very important virtue for preparation in this examination, which is focus. A lot of applicants enter the process of preparing for civil services, but it is only the sincere aspirants who last this struggle. And one thing that is common amongst all these sincere aspirants is the quality of focus. When you are preparing for civil services, it is important, it is imperative that that is your only goal and focus. You must only dream and aspire for being a civil servant by being a IAS, IPS or IFS officer. If you are distracted by multiple goals around you, then this exam will be a challenge for you. But if you focus all your energy on only this particular examination, then the likelihood of your success is enhanced manifold. And Swami Vivekananda puts it very beautifully in this quote. I want you all to remember this quote by this great son of India. He says, and I quote, "Take up one idea, make that idea your life. Think of it, dream it, live on that idea. Let your brain, muscle, nerves and every part of your body be full of that idea. And just leave every other idea alone. Forget everything. Like Arjuna could see only the eye of the fish. He could not see anything else. That was his goal. That was his focus. This is how great spiritual giants are produced. And this coming from no other than a great spiritual giant himself, Swami Vivekananda. On that note, guys, I have concluded what I had to share with all of you regarding civil services examination. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. I have just tried to give you a little bit of taste regarding what the exam is, what its nature, what you need to prepare, so on and so forth. But trust me, this is just the initial part. The actual preparation is going to start in the batch which starts from 8th of May 2023. We have batches for both English as well as Marathi medium. English batch starts at 8 a.m. in the morning. You can contact on the number that is given on the screen and register yourself for the demo lectures that will be coming up. Yes, this is the first batch. There will be subsequent batches also, but if it is convenient, start as early as possible and give wings to your civil services dream. On that note, guys, this is Jawad Qazi signing out. Thank you very much. Hope to see you in the classroom. Bye-bye.